Hello, and welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule set, starting as Alexios Komnenos in the Byzantine Empire in 1066. We're now on our sixth character, and our goal in this episode is to reform the Byzantine Empire. Our first two characters were Byzantine emperors, and we lost control because of a plague that wiped out all of our male heirs. We really struggled for a time trying to defend the Duchy of Aleppo, Duchy of Palestine, Jerusalem down here. Had to fight off a number of opponents, defensive wars, become a vassal. Eventually, our last character, Eudoxius, really went back to basics, built up the economy of our small realm, used that economy to build a larger military, and he was able to increase the size of the realm quite a bit. He eventually passed away, handing the realm to his eldest son, who was quite old. I think he was 56 or so when he took over. And since then, we have been using by the sword to simply smash the people around us, including Abyssinia here, who's a scourge conqueror, who defeated him twice. Also defeated this massive, just multi-continent spanning Russian Yayitskid Empire. We haven't fought the Mongols yet. I would like to do that as part of this campaign, just to see what it's like. Fortunately, Genghis Khan has died. There's no more greatest of Khans. You can see that he has a big army. It says it's similar to ours. I'm very skeptical. You can see our military here. We just have tons and tons of men-at-arms. And we've stationed them in buildings in counties that have buildings specifically designed to improve their power. So I do not think that the Genghis Khan successor is going to be able to do much against us. At the end of the last episode, we had just conquered Bulgaria from the Russians. We are now going to hand out those counties to new vassals. Ideally members of our dynasty who are adults and unlanded, but if not, we'll find someone else. Curious who this guy. So there have been a lot of Nestorians. There was a Altan Empire. You can still see part of it here. It used to be much larger, including all of our lands. They are Nestorian. We were their vassal for a while. We were Nestorian. Now we're back to the true faith of Orthodoxy. So the Ayetskids up here are Tengri. Mali over in Western Africa is Ashari. I assume the Mongols. The Mongols are Maturidi, okay. Not Tengri. Interesting. All right. But back to handing out these titles. Guess we don't get any land in Bulgaria. We'll just hand the title to the Moiseyev said. We'll just hand the title to the person who holds the county with the duchy building. I believe over here in Bulgaria, yeah, we get Bulgaria. There are lots of counties that we now hold. Let's try to give it to someone who can absorb a lot of counties. Okay, we'll get the rest of the counties in Bulgaria to a different holder. Usually I'm trying not to give too many counties to any single vassal, just give them what they can hold on their own. I think we have one more over here. Yep, once we hand this off, that should be all the land from the Kingdom of Bulgaria. Also have run out of unlanded adult male members of our dynasty. Though that will not stop us from continuing our conquest. Again, the drive here is really to try to reform the Byzantine Empire. It had been shattered by a fourth crusade. It's been occupied by foreigners, Russians, some of the Altans, this Hayastan Empire, Armenians have all been taking it over for quite a while. See some of Greece here is actually ruled by Catholics. All right, so I just want to identify where is the most land we can get. Probably need to attack the Yaitskids again, but we just fought him, so let's pin him so we can see when he dies. We can attack him again. Do believe our Hayastan, we've attacked them once to get land. I thought maybe we could attack them again, but no. Don't think we, well, maybe we can attack. I guess we could take, okay. If we can't fight anyone else, we'll fight Hellas. What about Georgia? Georgia is all in the Byzantine Empire. They are Nestorian. Can we? Yes. No. Okay. We do have By the Sword, so we have unlimited kingdom level holy wars. That's what we're going to be using here. Let's do a double, taking Crete and Hellas. Guess we can't also attack the current holders of the Aegean Islands. That's a bit unfortunate, but will not stop us from our drive to retake the Byzantine Empire, to restore it. Our current character is basically just a ridiculous martial character. See here he has 71 advantage, even though he's blind, which is hurting his advantage a little bit. He has 3 commander traits, including Master of Logistics. Between that and the living off the land perk, we're almost always going to have huge supply. Allows us to keep our army together, meaning that when the AI often divides its army to try to maintain supply, we can just stay united, smash them. And that was easy enough. Create the kingdom title of Crete here. We are on primogeniture now, so it doesn't matter who we... Doesn't matter how many titles you create, they aren't going to split. He's Nestorian. How about you stop being Nestorian? Probably isn't going to. Okay. Again, there was a time when we were a vassal under a Nestorian emperor. We were Nestorian ourselves, so there are a lot of Nestorians floating around. What's interesting is even though Nestorians are Christians, they are hostile toward other Christians, meaning that we can attack them using kingdom level holy wars. I'm just surprised about this message here. Looks like we used the Seas Imperial Duchy just in time. At least this is true, it's no longer available. So there would have been a time in the game this would have been a quite useful alliance, and I'd have probably taken it, certainly given it a real look. Now I just don't really care. It's just not necessary. I assume, wonder if we go able to retake. The papacy has a lot of land there. Wonder if we'll be able to retake it. Okay, interesting. Not good, really. Actually, quite bad. So this is a precursor for a random harm event. Random harm events were released, I think, around 3 years ago as an effort by Paradox to make the game more difficult, shake things up. What would happen is by a random harm event, your character would just immediately die. You get a random event, there's nothing you could do about it, your character would just die. Or it becomes incapable sometimes, which is arguably worse than death. Before that happened, like 3 or 4 years before, you would get a precursor event tied to each particular random harm event. The precursor event would give you a warning to say, hey, this random harm event might be coming, get your affairs in order. And so this one here is one of those precursor events. So it's possible this character is going to die in 3 to 5 years, something like that. He'll, I think this one he'll fall over the boat and drown. So that's a bit concerning. Our current heir is someone who doesn't want to play. He's quite sinful here. He's also elusive shadow, intrigue, which I don't think is really useful at this point. Want someone who's going to be martial. So this is a bit risky because you really don't want to play as a child on this level of difficulty. It makes things really hard. But we are going to make our oldest son our designated heir. We are on absolute crown authority, so we can do that. And we're just going to hope we can keep our character alive long enough to fully educate our many young children, young male potential heirs, and hopefully we don't fall victim to that random harm event. If we do, we'll deal with it. See, we had some of our Nestorian vassals and peasants looking to revolt against us. We will send some gifts, see if we can deal with them peacefully. If not, we will put down any revolt. Take a closer look at this after I am done with this war. Another duchy in Byzantium. Are there any older children, not our direct children, that we could give this to? You look, well, let's just change it to age. You look good. Enjoy being a duke. Not going to go to any grand tournaments. I think because we're blind, I don't even know that we'd be able to participate. Just being a spectator at a grand tournament, not terribly useful at this point. Okay, now let's take a closer look at our potential rebellion here. In 19 months, we could probably fight another war. We demand his conversion. Might as well give it a shot. Same for you. Okay, worked for one of them. Worked for both of them. Got them out of the faction, so that's good. We do have various events we can do, but for this character, I'm really just looking to engage in war. You are still alive. Assume all of our truces are still in effect, unfortunately. Alright, the papacy. What can we do here? Don't have any claims, apparently. What about Capua? Don't have any claims. Don't think Spoleto. Yeah, Spoleto's not within the de jure borders of the Byzantine Empire. Georgia, we can't actually reach their main area. We could clean up the Aegean Islands here. Huh. They not? They're Catholic. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, guess we could do some non-Byzantine war. I think that's what we'll be doing. Yep. Guess we should check to see if we can get an empire title. Usurp Bulgaria, definitely want to do that. Duchy of Crete, sure. We will hand the Duchy of Crete to the person we gave the counties to. So congratulations on being a duke. We will improve our accolades. If there's anything good to get. There is not for you. For you, make even better crossbow captain. That'll be our vassal. Any titles we can create, particularly, guess not. Guess if we really want to get an empire title, we probably should have attacked down in Arabia, but that's okay. We're really only interested in one empire title. I think we will get it sooner or later. As is typical, they join your realm as vassals and then immediately join a faction against you. Try to make Pelagius here as good as we can. Would like to make him brave. See about our other sons here. Make him brave, sure. Probably an argument that really Zenobia should be, yes, they're twins, so they're the same age, so Zenobia I think should be our heir because he's actually rowdy, which is a childhood trait that prefers martial, so he's actually, Zenobia is more likely to get a better education outcome in martial than his Pelagios, so we'll actually switch our designated heir to Zenobius. They're twins, they're the same age, so it's not like one is going to become of age sooner than the other. So by not looking carefully, we did lose 1,000 prestige, which is the cost to switch your designated heir, which is a lot, but you know, we can absorb it. Seeing where seeing if we can find the enemy army. Should probably be swaying people. A lot of these people hate us, I assume because of religious reasons. Well, that one's our rival. Offensive war, fine. Too many duchies, okay. So maybe after we finish this war, we'll do some activity, let our offensive war penalty mitigate a bit. And as soon as this character's taken over, I have engaged in war after war, so I think it's a fair concern from our vassals. That last event, whenever someone in your realm builds university, a man with high learning shows up. Good to have them. So we will finish up our current war and then deal with these peasants. I believe we should siege fast enough that it shouldn't be a problem. Especially if we can catch their armies. Which may, probably not. Okay, this is our older son. Of these three, fickle and arrogant, just not really good traits. Generous, I think, is a terrible trait early on, but later when you're ruling a big empire, you can absorb the minus 10% monthly income hit, and plus 3 diplomacy and plus 15 courtly vassal opinion are huge benefits. Really help you avoid rebellions, so we will go with generous. This last siege of their capital should end the war. Let's make sure we have all the, well, we just have all the positions at this point. There's no reason for us, given our income, not to have all our court positions, so we will fill all of them. Most of them we will just automate. What I was particularly looking for are the positions that prevent people from trying to murder us. Our 2 bodyguards, food taster, cupbearer, all there. Make sure our spy masters don't disrupt schemes. Make sure we have redoubled guards. Okay, we are basically taking all the actions we can to not die. I think there's not too much else we can do. Start heading back to attack these peasants. We have to give out a lot of land here. So we will try to find people that are Orthodox and Eastern Roman. Doesn't look like there are going to be many of them. Most people you find are just terrible stats. Ideally here we would be able to give people duchy titles, but for some of them you can't usurp the duchies yet, so try to give people titles with county titles within each duchy. Don't want to give them the lowborns because of the lowborn penalty. I think just anyone Orthodox will do. Do want them to be adults. I'm looking for is people who can hold all the counties, which is basically their education, how many stars they have, plus 1. So you see this guy, he can hold domain level 3 because he has 2nd level education. If he had a 4th level education, he can hold 5 counties. And so when I'm handing these out, trying to match the amount of counties in each duchy with their education trait. So here, I'm going to be looking for someone with 3, education trait of 3. Of course, that's a relatively recent development in CK3. Used to be domain limit was based on your stewardship, and you could just sort people by stewardship, but no longer. So looking for someone with 2 again. See if we can find someone with 4. I believe there is someone. And Fars, I think, is too large for any one person to hold. We can give Hormuz to someone. Maybe also have them hold part of Fars. Give the rest of Fars to someone else. Ideally, that guy looks good. And that is all. Want to grab the kingdom title if we can. We cannot. That's okay. Keep going here. I think after we deal with these peasants, will do some sort of we should probably do a feast. We should probably do a feast to make everyone a bit happier with us. Some of our vassals are starting to get agitated with us. Very simple in terms of defeating the peasants. We got their leader there. Disband our armies, right? Where's these raiders? Okay. Probably raiders that just left our realm. Not going to worry about them. Disbanded our armies. Let's hold a feast. Obviously, there are other things we could do with this character, but I'm really interested in trying to conquer as much as possible so we can reform the Byzantine Empire. Trying to do originally with him going up learning. We basically already have all the martial skills that we need. Taking learning, so make sure he would stay alive for one of his younger sons here to come of age. But we've had that precursor for random harm event, so it's possible he'll die earlier because of that. Here, don't want to make him greedy. Obviously, sort of the flip of generous that we were talking about earlier. -2 diplomacy, -15 courtly vassal opinion. Those really hurt when you're ruling a larger realm. Being callous just has some of the same penalties, just not that useful. Just obviously really hurt your intrigue, but it does help vassal opinion here. Give some stewardship, so we'll make him just. One problem with just is that if you're relying on sanction loopholes to get claims, then every claim you get using sanction loopholes gives you a significant amount of stress. So that is a downside, but it's something we'll mitigate and deal with if we need to. Okay. So we've got a lot of peasants here. Let's see where they are. Looks like they're mostly in Anatolia. We'll raise our armies in the middle of Anatolia, then split them up. We'll deal with these various peasants. We have picked up a county somewhere. Maybe we can give it to a family member. Sure. Maybe give him a better land later on, like a duchy. Certainly should be able to manage things from the feast. Don't think this is a very threatening rebellion. Divide our army into 4 here. Start sitting after all these peasants. That's a fairly large group of peasants. I think we should still be okay. Looks like the peasants are all, at least many of them, are taking to the seas. They may all be trying to combine in one big stack. Not sure. Okay, looks like they're trying to combine over here. Send you down here in case we need you. This guy is going to deal with those. Where's our other army? It apparently missed these peasants somehow. Want to prove opinion with our vassals who are there, so we'll take that option. Hopefully we will lose enough stress by the end of this event. Not too worried about our health right now, but I am worried about the harm event. Any peasants down here still? Oh, there are some peasants there. There are some peasants over here. Alright, we'll send this force over to deal with them. Guess we'll take this option since it's less stress. Still a lot. These guys, likewise, we'll send them to deal with peasants in our east. Reveler. Okay, so you should be dealing with those peasants. Where should we send? Oh, I guess there are a lot of peasants over here. Thought there were no peasants over here. All right. This is a bigger rebellion than I thought. Take the extra lifestyle experience. Really? Okay. Feel free to expose by a witch. I don't really care too much. I guess it could cause people would be more likely to rebel against me. I think all the remaining peasants are in our east, so we do have these annoying raiders. Let's see if we can kill them. I guess we could do something while we fight these raiders, but I don't know. The Grand Tour takes quite a while. Do have a good bit of gold. Let's go through our buildings here, see if we can improve anything. Baghdad, I think I want stables here because our fortification building helps heavy cavalry. We do have 2 regiments of heavy cavalry. They're some of our most important units. So we want them to have the biggest bonuses we can give them. That deals with the raiders. I guess we'll just send this regiment over here as well. We are losing some sieges over here, obviously, but I don't think it's going to matter in the long run. Love to get all that renown, as well as the gold. See how far away this grand wedding is. Very far. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll pass. Obviously just a sort of natural consequence of our rapid expansion here is we get a lot of peasant revolts. We get at least this one major peasant revolt, I should say. Slows us down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to change anything in the grand scheme of what we're doing. Almost 50,000 peasants there. A lot of peasants. Plaguers destabilizing the realm. We'll say desperate measures are required. And killing that 50,000 peasant stack ended the war. Assuming this isn't a real faction. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can convert at least some of the characters in our realm to orthodoxy. I'm guessing a lot of people are historian. Don't necessarily need to convert everyone, but if we can convert some people, that would help. Guess for these people that hate us, we can send them some gold, see if that helps anything. I don't think we have the highest diplomacy, so not sure that sending gold has a huge effect. Okay, let's go with that for now. Probably want to try to convert more if we're about to die. Though of course you could say, well, we probably are, or at least could be about to die because of the random harm event, so maybe we should focus on trying to convert more of these people. At least the dukes and princes. What's a satrap? Is a satrap a duke? Yes. So really want to go down to here, these dukes. Unsurprisingly, our relations with our family members that we've appointed are much better than with these other random vassals. That's why I like appointing family members. You can get a lot of dynasty opinion bonus, and so they're less likely to rebel against you. I know some people get concerned about if you appoint your family members to positions, they will then try to assert claimant factions against you. I have not found that to be a serious concern in my playthroughs. Most claimant factions that I've seen come from people outside of my dynasty who had claim on whatever titles at issue. I'm giving out some weak hooks here, which isn't great, but this will stabilize our succession. Don't want to use this character to adopt a centralized bureaucracy. Just too many things could go wrong. See that Egypt has fallen apart. I guess the Altan Empire has fallen apart after we took such a huge part of it. Let's see if our truces are up. This one is. That's good. What about with Russia? Not yet. So, seizing de jure lands does very little. Attack Pontus. Hopefully that could cause these people to collapse. And I think that also allow us to wage a holy war on Georgia to get those lands. So that's clearly what we want to do. Not sure if those are the Russian forces or what they're doing down here. Maybe they're attacking Hayastan as well. Here are some titles that we will give away to someone. Okay, you are fine. Would you also like that county? Joy. So we are currently Lebanese culture and focused on getting the development up in those counties. I think we can change the county we're no. So is Lebanese really only 2 counties? Okay, it is only 2 counties. All right, then we will keep increasing development in this county since it's lower than Aleppo. If it's just those 2 counties, then it does look like the Hayastan and its goods are fighting each other. We'll go through another round of buildings, at least for those counties that still need more buildings. Okay, we do have a plague. I don't think it's going to hit our capital. Okay, I think we took over someone else's war, possibly because they died. I guess we'll deal with that somehow. I'm not even sure a tyranny war against some lower rule. I was about to say I don't know how some tyranny war against a lower level ruler even impacts us, but I don't want something weird to happen where we lose this tyranny war and it ends up that we get deposed somehow. That would obviously be disastrous. I don't think that would happen, and I think it would clearly be a bug if it did happen, but we've seen weirder stuff. Okay, so I think, to be safe, we should hire some mercenaries just to deal with these rebels here. Not a lot of great mercenaries to be hired, frankly, but we'll take what we can get. We can also raise some more of our levies here to give us bigger forces. So let's do that. Again, just paranoid about what could happen here. We've seen some weird stuff in this game regarding succession and other issues, and just don't want to have some weird thing happen. That should be more than enough in terms of our forces. Looks like these people are also hiring more forces. Having a lot of people just dying. Want to give away this title. I don't know why it's being contested in a war, so I guess so. Okay, so this is starting to get annoying. Don't know why these guys are down here. Okay. Just have to play it by ear here. Try to give away as many of these buildings as I can to someone. By buildings, I mean counties, of course. Ideal world, I would have actually checked his personalities to see if that was a good idea. But we're trying to get through all these wars here. It's probably important to slow down and make sure you're doing the right thing, even when you have a lot of wars and problems going on. Don't need a gray artifact. Assume if we can siege down his capital, that will end this war. So what's happening is this plague is killing off a whole lot of rulers there, and those rulers were involved in other wars, and as we take over their lands, we are becoming successors to their wars. At the same time, we're trying to fight our own main war here. So we're going to finish up our main war, go down to our eastern, southeastern borders, finish up all those wars, and then go back to trying to reassemble the Byzantine Empire. Let's check our tips here, see what we can do. Getting some more vassals is fine. Do want people to convert, so don't want to give them exemptions. You, stalwart is good. That looks like the best option. Give our armies more toughness. I wanted to see Bride if you have family members that should get married. Surprised she does not have any genetic traits. See if there's a genius somewhere she can marry. Not our sons, probably. That guy looks good. Cannot actually usurp that title. probably can't use your title, probably because it's, you know, the holder is in a war. So these people join our realm and immediately hate me. It's often the case. And just try to send these people gifts and get them to convert. I doubt many of them will, but might as well give it a shot. Assume they're all Nestorian. And don't really like giving out weak hooks, but if it gets rid of this faction, it'll be worth it. Looks like it did, at least for now. Sure where the high Justinian army is going, maybe to fight the Russians. Would also be unfortunate, of course, if I say it might cause it to occur. Just kidding, I don't really believe that. Is if I'm involved in all these different wars and then suddenly a random harm event hits and kills my character and my child successor, and then has to deal with a whole bunch of wars. Could happen. Let's see if we can make him forgiving, since that's a virtue. You, I think our only option is to make you forgiving. Yes. Might as well have them study some more languages. Also want to come back to them and see if we can give them a good martial drill. We'll just take the stress. You know, we can use our athletic trait to get rid of it. Yeah, so we're a bit stressed out, but nothing too bad. No, it doesn't matter too much. We do have plenty of children at this point. Our issue is not so much having more children, but rather living long enough to educate the ones we do have. Okay. Where is this other holding? I'm not... Alright, I think that's sort of a bug. Should be able to siege down castle baronies. Okay. Split these in two. One go there. Actually, this one with the siege equipment should go over here. The other one should go to destroy these armies. Of course, we have more titles to hand out. Same thing as before. I'm really looking at the education traits, and so how many titles these people can hold. So again, it's really their education trait +1 at the moment. So looking for someone who has at least a level 3 education trait. Now we are back to where we were at least. We've been consistently 2 over the domain limit. Because we're playing on the hardest possible rule set, we have -3 domain limit for the player only. So that's why our domain limit is so low. I have another peasant rebellion. Looks like. Is that one leaderless? I think we've already beheaded that peasant rebellion. Not sure if it can fire. I think that's the one we've defeated really already. Council is full of idiots now, but again, probably worth it to avoid these revolts. Well, after we restore the Byzantine Empire, we'll likely look into becoming an administrative government. Still got a long ways to go. I think Croatia, either Croatia or Serbia, is the biggest kingdom held by. Held by the Russians or Yitskids. See, the papacy is really increasing in size. I wish we had way to get out their territory. Let's see what we can do here. And we could just take Thessalonica. That probably makes the most sense, really. Yeah, the issue is we have to hold. I'd want to hold Constantinople, which gives us 8 of 5. Would be 3 over. It's probably not a big deal. Let's just do it. Definitely want Constantinople back at some point. Might as well be now. Again, I don't think this faction can fire. I think that's actually the faction that already fired, that we defeated. You can see it does not have a leader here. I don't think it can fire without a leader. So this might be us fighting against this gigantic empire, this massive army. We beat him once. I think we'll be beating him again here, but never know. We already see. Wow, so we just siege down Constantinople that quickly. Again, I almost thought that was a bug or something. Yeah, obviously we have a very powerful character. Not sure who this guy is. Okay. I should say I know who he is. I'm not sure what the war is about. Okay, we can see the Russian. What are they again? It's get armies coming toward us. Now they're not coming toward us so much. Probably could have hired a holy order. Okay, let's see if we can catch them. Don't need to worry about the border because we are strategists, and so don't get penalties for fighting over rivers. walk in here, we'll take a look. They just have a succession. They did, in fact, just have a succession. See that the ruler that just took over is still a scourge conqueror, but you know, she's a 3-star intricate web weaver. She probably does not have any points. 1 point in martial, and you know, we have these 2 trees, really all 3 of the trees filled out. So she really has no chance against us. As a scourge conqueror, she gets plus 25 advantage because one very hard. AI rulers of their own troops get plus 10, and so you know the AI cheats in quotes, so to speak, is plus 35 advantage. But despite that, we still have more, and also we are just countering all of her men-at-arms. They're all only doing 10% damage. That's just nothing. So they're all fully countered. On the flip side, you can see we're slightly countered, but you know, our men-at-arms aren't doing 10% damage. They're doing 80%, 75%. That one's only doing 50%, 75. So we're just doing far more damage with our men-at-arms. It's probably going to be stack wiped or just obliterated. So not stack wiped, but still a quite decisive defeat, I would say. We'll keep sieging here. Chase her down again. But yeah, you know, at this point, I'm quite skeptical that any other army could face us. I do want to restore the Byzantine Empire. I've talked in prior series, and I think even this one, about how I consider my win condition to be when I'm indisputably the most powerful ruler in the land, that it's time to say, I've won, declare victory, go on to the next campaign. Here, I would like to reform the Byzantine Empire before doing that. Okay, we'll fight you here. Not sure if they hired more mercenaries or got more troops or something that they're landing here. But you can see this is going to be a horrific slaughter because they are recently disembarked, even with the scourge-of-the-gods conqueror leading them. So, you know, this massive multi-continent spanning empire, this 100,000 troops or whatever, just got completely stack wiped by us. I really think goes to the point that we are the most powerful ruler at this point. Okay, that was our eldest son, the sort of evil guy. You can see, probably most of you have seen the travel event where there's some poisonous plants and you get a few options, or I should say you're running low on provisions and you get a few options. Some of them are trying to steal supplies. One of them is to eat some plants, and there's usually like a 1 to 3% chance of dying, and that's what happened to him. So a rare way to die. The father of our current ruler also died in a very rare way. So we get some unusual deaths there. I think we can remove him since he's dead. Take a look at our heirs again. Potential heirs. Move this guy since he is also dead. Start giving away more lands. We may eventually, probably not with this character, but our successor may need to give away the lands we've held in the Duchy of Aleppo for so long, just to get to a reasonable point where we're not so far over the domain limit. But again, that's going to be the next character and not this one. You, Strymon, also Brissus and Callipolis. We don't really need them. Probably going to be focused on getting counties that have special buildings that are very powerful, like Jerusalem, Aleppo, Cairo, Baghdad, Constantinople. I'd also like to get Siena at some point, which also has a very powerful building. 8 of 5, which is where we should be now. Let it run a bit, because I'm sure Constantinople, in fact, has low control, needs to be improved. Let's see here. They still did not build a hospice in Constantinople. Some of these buildings our first two rulers built themselves. I think most of them, in fact, at least from the 100-acre field to the right. Let's see. I know for a while we had restored the Byzantine Empire. Okay. What are we? Oh, okay. Yeah, that gets the same. I mean, do we want to do that with this character? Well, we're primogeniture now. I think that. Okay, I think if we change our main title to Thessalonica, say, we will then be able to restore the Byzantine Empire. Looks like, frankly, I could have done this much earlier, but I did not pay careful enough attention to that decision. We will make this our primary title. Now, okay. Okay, we can do this too. It's fine. Lost back order, sure. All right, I don't think I've ever seen this decision before, so I will take some time to look at it. So obviously what really screwed us, our second character is accolade succession. When all of our male heirs died, our daughter couldn't inherit, also because she was disfigured, and because she was a woman, the Byzantine vassals wanted someone else. Now we're on primogeniture, won't be accolade succession. I will want to check immediately to make sure we are in primogeniture. Because it looks like actually we will not be, that we'll start with acclamation succession. So we need to change to primogeniture immediately. Let's make, that's going to depend on our vassal opinion, but that's what we'll do. So we want to make sure we do that. As long as we have primogeniture, I think we'll be fine. So here we go. Okay, so that's all fine. That's the standard screen. This is the one I want to see here. I won't read it. Hopefully you can read it yourself if you want to. Okay, not too much that's exciting. Now that we've done it, let's pause. It says my first son is my heir. That's not a huge concern. That's fine. Can we get primogeniture? We cannot. Why not? Need more influence. Okay, everything's... Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. Not again. Oh... Could adopt feudal ways. Okay, we're not, absolutely not going to let happen. Is to lose this title again to anyone. I guess here we'd switch to playing this guy, so we wouldn't lose it. So I mean, it's not great. All right. I mean, I did want to restore the Byzantine Empire. That was really one of the core reasons for this. Let's play a bit here. Particularly want to we have our coronation, sure. We probably need to talk to our patriarch. Hey, buddy, would you please give me an anointment? No. Why? All right. I think because by playing on very hard, we end up with patriarchs, popes that are less willing to give you an anointment. In our last game, we had some characters with real problems getting anointments. Let's go with Empress attendees. Start the coronation. Let's check our royal court, our throne room. I'm guessing we've lost everything. Yeah, all the amazing artifacts that our first ruler had. We have virtually none of them, except arguably the most important artifact, the Crown of Justinian. So certainly happy to have that. +1 domain limit. I think it's the only artifact now that gives +1 domain limit. Okay, can't demand this conversion. We are way over budget, largely because of men-at-arms. We will destroy our siege equipment. Okay. Destroy it so we get back to 8 of 8. We'll recreate our siege equipment under our titles here. I think Khuzestan we do not want. Here you can see, even though we're losing a little bit of monthly income, we are making a huge amount of treasury income, so that all works out. Let's get our family members married here. Ideally, she would want someone who is beautiful. He looks good. Grandson, want someone with a mix of stats. She looks good. How difficult would it be for me to get this guy to lead the not, we're close to having him leave the Byzantine Empire. Go through this coronation and see what happens. I think we'll go through another round of building here. So we have our large treasury. Might as well just keep improving things, even though again we're likely to give away some of the buildings in the Duchy of Aleppo at some point. Cairo has fortification that helps heavy cavalry. I think we build stables here. At some point we should look at our men-at-arms, make sure they are regimented in the best place. station in the best place. Okay, so they're getting older. I think once they turn 16, probably be a lot easier to once they turn 16, probably easier to promote their candidacy to be my successor as head of the Byzantine Empire. Of course, what would be funny here is for the random harm event to fire. So random harm events, even when they were originally introduced, it's not a guarantee that they fire just because you get that warning. Even to get that precursor event, there's, I think it was like around a 50-50 chance, so sort of a coin flip. There's no guarantee that we're going to die in the near future. Good, just keep going and the harm event doesn't fire. So here, I always take the first 3 in blood. Unfortunately, someone else in my dynasty took the 4th dynasty perk and blood. I usually don't go for it. That was when we didn't have control of our dynasty. Then, because we're playing on the hardest possible rule set, I get all of the warfare dynasty legacies. You just really need to improve your armies, and this helps quite a bit. Then I go for kin. The second one, studious youth, incredibly important, given the change to domain limit to be based on education. Really want your children to be as well educated as possible. These other, constant care, close bonds, dynasty opinions, very good. And graceful aging is extremely powerful. A little less powerful now with the elder traits, but still quite good. Okay, so now we see that our eldest son, the older twin, is now our heir. So that's good. I mean, that's fine. We had planned for the younger twin to be our heir, but happy to have our older twin be it. So here again, I usually give in to people so long as it doesn't cost me anything. Happy to have these people have a higher development. One genuinely surprising thing is we have not seen a Black Death. We're on Doomsday Plagues with unlimited random Black Death. And so far, just gotten lucky I haven't seen one. So that last decision I went through a little bit quick. Usually I take either the second or third option. The second gives vassal opinion and 1 point of diplomacy. The third gives renown. Because vassals aren't really a problem right now, I don't think, I went with the renown instead. Often I'll go with the diplomacy and vassal opinion if it's someone who is just coming to the throne and there are real concerns about factions. But not really an issue here, I don't think. Probably the Komnenos crown. Yeah, I think the Komnenos crown. I think here I often don't get this, but because we do have vassals that we want to convert, I will go with the top one. Get the bonus to demanding conversion. Make sure the crown is actually on my head, because it usually isn't. It's not here. Let's repair our spear. That has served us so well over the many decades, maybe a century plus. Oh, what do we want to do? Ensure peace is usually my favorite here. For the domain limit and all the development growth, I think let's do it. Does mean that we will have to cut down on our conquering for a while, but I think that's fine. Again, happy to hand out prestige or other benefits when it does not hurt me. go for the diplomacy lifestyle experience. Don't think we can hunt. I'm not sure I can do either of these. I think we'll just do the bottom one because I'm blind. I don't think I can go on hunts anymore. Trust other cultures makes sense. And there we go. Still can't go to primogeniture yet. I should have kept that one on to lose some stress. Okay, so you can see where we are here. At this point, I do think I'm going to, oh wow. Okay, so I'm definitely going to call the run, I think, here. You see the Mongol Empire has exploded. Talked before about, hey, maybe I want to fight the Mongols just to prove that I am indisputably the most powerful ruler on earth. They no longer exist. China here, looks superficially strong, but you can see they don't have anywhere near the number of men-at-arms that we do. We just vastly outnumber them. The Utskids have this gigantic empire. We've beaten them twice now, and those wars were not close. We just obliterated them. Mali not going to be anywhere near as strong as us. So again, I have satisfied my personal win condition of being the most powerful ruler on earth, and most importantly, we established the Byzantine Empire. From here, I think the natural course would be to try to reform the Roman Empire, establish the Theodosian borders. Those are all things that we could do, but at this point, it's really just going to be me, curb stomping people in wars, which I don't know how exciting that is for you or for me, since the challenge of the game is really complete at this point. So with all that, what did we learn? What do we reflect from this game? First is that accolade succession, really a double-edged sword. We began as a 10-year-old duke, became Byzantine emperor at the age of 19. Had some bumps along the way with our first two characters, but overall they both ruled well. We were expanding the Byzantine Empire. Then the end of our second character's life, we had a terrible plague that wiped out our two male heirs. Our character had a faltering heart because of all of the deaths of his family and friends. That triggered him to have a massive stress heart attack, killing him, leaving our heir as our disfigured daughter, who did not ascend to the Byzantine throne. Really struggled in Jerusalem after that, but just focusing on accolade succession. So you really have to be careful when you have any sort of elective succession government. If we had been feudal or clan or something of that nature, the titles would all pass to our daughter. Fine, we'd have dealt with it. But because of the elective nature of the government, it really hurt us there, and it made the playthrough much more difficult, frustrating, but probably arguably much more interesting than it otherwise would have been, because we really had to come back from the bottom. It was truly the rags to riches kind of story here that we've had. Second point to make is that when we did lose our lands, we originally went to Jerusalem. I think in retrospect that's a debatable decision. Jerusalem County is extremely powerful, definitely something you want to hold. I don't think you want to hold it as your only county, our only duchy, our main duchy. The problem with that is it is so valuable, everyone seems to want to attack you for it, and you're often surrounded by enemies. And we had to fight tons of defensive wars when we were down here just as a duke or a king of a small realm that I might have otherwise avoided. Third issue is, especially since we're playing on Doomsday Plagues, should probably give more thought to building hospices, especially in our capital. When I first started playing on this difficulty, and I would hold a duchy and I have my capital in a duchy building, I would almost always build the. Let's go to build another building. I can see it. I would almost always build the burial site as my duchy building, and the reason for that, certainly wasn't the legend spread because they were hard to use, but it was really for the plague resistance, plus 20 plague resistance, and obviously it goes up with each level. You combine the burial site plague resistance with the hospice plague resistance, and you can get to 100 plague resistance very quickly. I got away from that because I thought, well, I don't know that's really necessary, and getting holding taxes or something else using your duchy building may be more important. But in this run, things really went haywire because of our children getting plague and dying. Now, you can't build a duchy building in Byzantium, Constantinople, so we could have built hospices, and maybe that would have helped. Or maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe it was just something inevitable that those children were going to die from plague and there's nothing we could do. But it is important to keep in mind that on this rule setting, we are playing with Doomsday plagues. So plagues are particularly lethal, virulent, and you really want to be careful about them because they really disrupted our playthrough here. But overall, even though we had some dark days, did come through winning in the end. Maybe you can say this just shows that even on the hardest settings, CK3 is still an easy game, that it's hard to lose CK3, especially with landless play now. But hopefully I provided some entertainment, showed some ways to deal with dire situations, having to wage a bunch of defensive wars, and how to really focus on the basics. In American football, you talk about really it comes down to blocking and tackling, the basics of the game. And in CK3, I think it's also that. It really comes down to the basics of getting a good duchy to be your domain, building up the counties in your domain using a combination of economic and military buildings, and using the gold you get and the bonuses you get from those buildings to build a strong army, and then you'll be able to go out and conquer and do the things that you want to do. I hope you've enjoyed the series. If you're watching this when it first comes out in July, taking an overseas trip, so I'll be on a break for a while. Won't be posting new videos or responding to comments. I do hope to continue when I get back. But again, thanks very much for watching the series. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you again for our next campaign. Thanks. Goodbye.